It was important to me to go somewhere where I could be totally on my own. No cell signal or internet, just me, my thoughts, and of course, peaches. My first stop was the Chisos mountain range, which is part of Big Bend National Park. Before I left, I discovered this really cool tent that attached to the back hatch of the van. This proved to be a real game changer when I would stay somewhere like this for a few days. For whatever reason, I knew I had to keep moving, keep exploring. I was worried if I stayed too still too long, the sadness of my marriage ending would consume me. I would go on these really long hikes. Peaches was such a trooper, always by my side. This was a beautiful moment for me, peeking over the cliff edge for the first time. That is literally Mexico across the river and into the distance. It would have been so easy to disappear into a different country. It totally crossed my mind. It was so beautiful here. And cue the Rolling Stones, because those are literally wild horses. What happens next, I will never forget. Hidden behind a rock, there was this plastic container that said Arts and Crafts for the Boquillas School for the Kids, asking for donations. These were handmade crafts and figures that weren't supposed to be here, but somebody wanted them to be found, and somebody needed the money. The more I looked around, the more I saw, and the more it tugged at my heartstrings. There were hand-carved walking sticks. There were hand-sewn drink holders with the words "No Wall." Finding all of this really affected me. These people were sneaking across the river into America, risking their safety and freedom just to make a few bucks. I actually got to see a couple of the guys here. That's their boat on the bottom left. In a way, it really minimalized my divorce. It's something I'll never forget. I put some money in the plastic container and donated to the kids' school. I hope they got the money. Those handmade Mexican treasures are here with me at home in Texas, serving as a reminder that there are people out there really struggling, risking so much, doing whatever it takes just to survive. After about a week, I decided it was time to move on. Of course, the scenery and the mountains were beautiful here, but what really struck me was how vast and never-ending the landscape was. Everywhere you looked, it seemed to go on forever, without a building or a house in sight. You know, I was struggling with how to wrap this video up, and then I found this. I thought it was important, while I was thinking about it, to say out loud some of the things I've experienced, some things that I want to remember while I've been here. One, even now, like being startled by the sound of your own voice, because you don't know if it's been like an hour or all day or a couple of days. You can't quite figure out when the last time you spoke was, because you're just on your own. So your voice comes out and it really kind of gives you a shock. Just the quiet all the time, even now. It makes all of your thoughts, and I'm an obsessive person anyway, so I think about the same stuff over and over and over, especially something like a divorce. It's all right there all the time. And then you're not really speaking, it's just quiet, and it's there. And you're kind of almost forced to face it and deal with it. I feel lost. I don't know. The divorce thing still feels odd. Like I don't really know where to put it. I also have figured out it's okay to miss my wife. I miss Holly. I also let myself cry last night. I've been doing this thing at home before I left. I would start to cry and then go like, no, push it down. And last night I just kind of let myself cry. It just happened. You know when you do something crazy and it just resonates to your core that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing? That's what this trip is so far, and I feel like it's just starting. I need to find what makes me happy just as a person. I know I have music and I love music and I'm thankful for it, but just on a very human, just day-to-day level, I need to find that thing or those things that make me happy. And I feel like this was a really important first step. As difficult as it is, just to kind of face a lot of these difficulties, I kind of feel proud of myself and like I'm headed in the right direction. I decided it was time to go somewhere I've always wanted to go. And as you can see, we were getting pretty comfortable at this point, living in the van, on the road. Excuse Peach's unladylike sleeping position. But this is the back of the van where I would eat, sleep, look at photos from the day, maybe read or play guitar. I made my way up to historic Route 66, camera at the ready. What I found really shocked me. Everything was fading away and being overtaken by nature. Nothing like the picture of Route 66 that I had in my mind. There was still something beautiful about capturing what remained, but it was also sad. And maybe it made my grief more accessible because at this point I found myself writing new songs. But these songs were just for me. They were therapy. That's what songwriting is for me. It's therapy. Some songs end up on albums, but most don't. Like this one I want to share with you now. Written on Route 66 while I processed the fact that I wasn't just losing my wife. My mom was losing a daughter, my nieces were losing an aunt, and so on and so on. I dealt with it the only way I knew how, through music. Alright, leave behind.
Probably won't change your mind, but it's not just me that you leave behind. There's one thing I hope that you keep in mind. Maybe it's not just me that you leave behind.
It was at this point in the trip I started to get really comfortable. I was feeling very Jack Kerouac on the road and enjoying my adventure. I'd left Texas behind and was traveling west through New Mexico and Arizona. There's land in this part of America that's operated by the Bureau of Land Management. Basically government land in beautiful places designated for overnight stays. I could literally find a spot in the mountains or in the desert and stay for free for up to a week. I experienced so much beauty in this part of America. I also discovered red wine in a can, which was just the sort of white trash medicine I needed. I stopped in Tombstone, Arizona. I'd never been, and I'm a big nerd when it comes to the history of people like Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday. So to visit Tombstone and walk where they walked and to stand on the very floor where they stood. It was magic. I felt my mood start to change. It was a welcomed change. I was feeling more hopeful and less sad. I was still writing songs along the way, which were also becoming more hopeful, like this one.
Yeah, we've all been there before. When your love walks out the door, you're left with the burden of that choice. You can let it wreck your world, make a plan, destroy that girl or boy, oh boy. But your broken heart, it's not the end, no, it's a brand new start. So baby, bye-bye, I hope this life will treat you well. Baby, bye-bye, yeah, we gave it hell. But if I'm not mistaken, even though my heart is breaking, it's not the end, no, it's a brand new start.
I'd spent weeks on my own, navigating the emotional roller coaster of divorce. Well, just me and Peaches. I made it to California and decided to spend a couple of days in LA. There wasn't anywhere to park and legally stay in the van, so I bit the bullet and found a dog-friendly hotel. The next 2 days were absolutely wild. I had been dying to visit Norman's rare guitars. Norm was well acquainted with and sourced guitars for the biggest names in music, including Bruce Springsteen and my hero, Tom Petty. I was a big fan of their super popular YouTube series and really couldn't wait to visit the store just as a fan. The last thing I expected was to end up on the very program I was literally watching the night before. Not only that, but you see that vintage Martin acoustic guitar I'm holding? I got to take it home. You should understand how rare and expensive most of the guitars are at Norm's. They're worth every penny if you can afford it, which I couldn't, but Norm made me an offer I couldn't refuse. We had bonded over stories of Tom Petty, and I was gobsmacked that I was leaving with the guitar. I got back to the van in the parking lot, and I cried. A lot. In that moment, there were so many emotions. The past few weeks all spilled over. I let it all out. I actually cried until I laughed, and I left that parking lot with the biggest smile. It felt good.
Once upon a time you were everything. You were everything I wanted and I wanted to be with you. Once upon a time we were gonna be, yeah, we were gonna be the kind of love that we believed to be true. Me and you. Love comes on like a tidal wave. Makes you do crazy things, you even changed your name. That's fine. I never loved someone like I love you, girl. You're a big bright light in a cold dark world. And you were mine once upon a time.
The next day I had lunch with the legend that is Michael DeBar. I grew up watching Michael on MacGyver as Murdoch, but he's so much more than that. Rock star, radio host, and a long list of wonderfully impressive things. I'm so lucky to call him a friend. I will never forget the conversation we had during our lunch that day. I shared my recent journey, and he listened and shared his sage wisdom as only he can, and we both cried. That conversation changed things for me and solidified a very important relationship in my life. The next stop, The Price is Right. Obviously. Yes, Drew Carey had invited me to a taping, and there was no way I was passing that up. I actually haven't told anyone, and no one noticed that I was actually on the show. Maybe it's because I chopped my long hair off in a fresh start inspired moment before I began this adventure, so I didn't look quite like myself, but there I am on TV. Regardless, it was a welcomed moment of joy. Drew and I went to dinner after, and again, I got to share a conversation with someone that will forever stick with me. There's no way he realized the gravity of what that conversation meant to me. After dinner, we went back to Drew's, got stoned, and watched a movie. It was just the therapy I needed, and what a trip.
Broken hearted, not sure what's best. Packed up the van and headed out west. Feeling lost, but finding my way. I felt a little better once I hit LA. What I didn't know, what I needed to do, was be on The Price is Right and get stoned with Drew. If you're feeling down, I can recommend to you, pay a visit to The Price is Right. And then if you can, get stoned with Drew. Get stoned with Drew.
I left LA and headed north. I spent the next few weeks exploring and did things like visit the grave of Wyatt Earp. I even spent some time in a recording studio there, and I felt the sadness really start to subside. I guess I felt myself start to heal. This was on the coast, just north of Santa Rosa, and there was something very poetic about it feeling and looking like I had reached the end of the world. It was about this time that I got the news our house had sold, and I needed to get back to Texas to deal with that. Oh, the joys of real life and the legalities to follow. I had been gone for a month. I'll never forget pulling up the map and seeing this. 30 hours to get back home. It was on the way back to Texas, armed with the guitar I got from Norm in California, that I would write the songs destined to become an unexpected new album. I saw some beautiful and interesting things on the way back home. If you didn't know, I'm signed to Stevie Van Zant's Wicked Cool Records. Stevie has been an amazing mentor and friend. He told me something while I was going through all of this that has proven to be very true. He said, "Ryan, you're going to write a lot of sad songs for a while. Those songs probably won't be any good. But after you're done being sad, keep writing. Because the songs that come right after that, those will be the really good ones." And you know what? He was right. The label wasn't asking for or expecting another album from me, but everything I had been through resulted in the best songs I've ever written. The torturous irony being, this new album that's coming out and all of the songs on it wouldn't exist if it wasn't for my divorce. Kurt Cobain once said, "Thank you for the tragedy. I need it for my art."